Good morning and welcome to Take Your Life Back Today show with me, Ralf Friedrichs. Today we are going to actually touch on two items in this episode. The first one is going to be 4 tips for super sobriety, and I'm going to follow that up with an interview with the Pope. And what the Pope pretty much said are the 10 most important things for a happier life. So it's important that I touch up on both of these today because I was amazed by what the Pope had to say, and I want to share that with you. First, I want to give a shout out to Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. You can reach him at 516-485-2741. That's 516-485-2741. You can also find him on a website at www.odysseyconsultant.org. His website is www.odysseyconsultant.org. That's Larry Geis from the Geis Academy, 516-485-2741. Larry is an addiction recovery coach, a life coach like I am. He has over 30 years experience. He can help you from your addiction to your recovery hand in hand. He will only worry about today and tomorrow. He is not a counselor or a therapist, nor am I, and we don't talk about your past. What we want to do is get you going for today and look forward to tomorrow. So give him a call at 516-485-2741. That's 516-485-2741. That's Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. And when you speak to him, let him know that you heard about him on the Take Your Life Back Today show with Ralf Friedrichs. Shout out to globaleyeglasses.com. They are focused on saving you money. They have frames that start as low as $6 and go all the way up to $69. And what those frames include are standard, clear, non-coated plastic lenses. They also include a case, a cloth. Now, if you need progressives, they have them. If you need transitions, they have them. If you need high index, which is a thinner lens, they have them. They have for night driving glasses, which is anti-reflecting coating, UV, polarization. They have it all at globaleyeglasses.com. And the great thing here is that I've helped over 100 people or more that have watched me on this during this show. And I have over 30 years in optometry business experience. So not only do you get an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, a motivator, but you also get a person that can help you fit your glasses properly for your sizing and also get the proper lenses you need. But you need to reach out to me at 631-599-0218 or 844-405-HELP. globaleyeglasses.com. They are focused on saving you money. 4 tips for super sobriety. In the early days of recovery, hanging on to your sobriety is pretty much the main priority in your life. But in order to be sober and happy, you have to make an effort to grow as a person. Here are 4 elements that you can work on to ensure you have a super sobriety. Doing the following things will help you grow stronger and happier in your recovery. And number 1 thing you need to do is you need to learn to let go. Addiction is a disease of stuckness. We get stuck in the cycle of using drinks or drugs. And we also get stuck with our moods, grievances, resentments. Recovering addicts cannot afford to become too stressed out because stress makes relapse more likely. The world will always be full of adverse experiences. We have to learn to let go of them. We can't control all. So they don't waste our energy or make us stressed out. Next time you're fretting over a gossiping friend, you lost your car keys, or missing out on a promotion, put things in perspective. Look at things and say, okay, this is what it is. Let's deal with it. Number 2, free yourself from judgment. One of the reasons we suffer in life is because we are too concerned with looking outwards and worrying about the rest of the world. We compare ourselves to others and worry that we'll come up short, or we do the opposite and think critically of others and the way they live their lives. We need to worry about our own lives. We need to worry about what we do because we are accountable for our actions. Wouldn't it be freeing to stop judging yourself by external standards, instead choosing only to improve yourself day by day? Set new goals for yourself. Don't set your goals according to someone else who might be setting goals higher and not achieving them. And when you set your goals to be like theirs, you're setting yourself up for failure. Number 3, sit with your stuff. When people are in active addiction, what they are basically doing is trying to block out unpleasant feelings. Even if you've stopped using drinks or alcohol, drinks or drugs to mask or change your mood, often you may still be doing things to alter the way you feel. Recovering addicts typically cross-addict to other things using work, caffeine, sex as new ways of fighting their feelings. There is nothing wrong with soothing or distracting yourself when you are hurting sometimes. But you become a much stronger person if you learn to sit with that pain without doing anything to camouflage the pain and dealing with it head on without possibly intoxicating yourself using drugs. Face your fears, face your problems head on, and you will conquer them. There is not one problem that I don't face head on, and I certainly don't camouflage any problem with alcohol or drugs. Number 4, feed your soul. In the early days of recovery, we usually play it safe and stay within fellowship and recovery groups. That's really useful approach when you're newly sober, but it can limit you a lot later on. Never moving outside recovery circles means that you may never find out what really makes you tick and gives you a sense of meaning in the world. In order to lead a fulfilling life, you have to find out what makes you happy, what your values are, and how you can contribute to the world in a way that makes you feel great. Some find joy in helping others, as I do, or find fulfillment down in the spiritual path, which I also try to do, while others discover that they really connect with the world when they're being creative. Sobriety is just the start of your new life. Enjoy it. You must learn to feed yourself whatever it needs to be fed with. Try different things. Go outside this realm of the AA and the support groups, yet proceed with caution and always look for happiness. Happiness equals less stress, equals less triggers, equals less chances of relapse. And who better to tell us about happiness than our Pope Francis? In a recent interview with Argentine publication Viva, Pope Francis issued a list of 10 tips to be a happier person based on his own life experience. The Pope encouraged people to be more positive and generous, to turn off the TV and find healthier forms of leisure, and even to stop trying to convert people to its own religion. But this number 1 piece of advice came in the form of somewhat cliche Italian phrase that means move forward and let others do the same. It's basically the Italian equivalent of live and let live. You can check out the full list now when I read them to you. These are the top 10 things that Pope Francis says that will help make you happier in life. Number 1 is, of course, live and let live. Everyone should be guided by the principle, he said, which has a similar expression in Rome with the saying, move forward and let others do the same. So move forward and let others do the same. Live and let live. Number 2, according to the Pope, be giving of yourself to others. People need to be open and generous towards others, he said, because if you withdraw into yourself, you run the risk of becoming egocentric, and stagnant water becomes putrid. Number 3 on his list, proceed calmly in life. The Pope, who used to teach high school literature, used an image from Argentine novel Ricardo Giraldez, in which the protagonist, Gaucho Don Segundo Sambrura, looks back on how he lived his life. Number 4, a healthy sense of leisure. The Pope said, consumerism has brought us anxiety, and told parents to set aside time to play with their children and turn the TVs off and sit down and eat without the TV. Number 5, Sundays should be holidays. Workers should have Sundays off because Sunday is for family. How true. Us growing up, for anyone that's 50 and above, we remember those days where Sundays, I could almost swear only 7-Eleven would be open, and look at it now. Number 6 on the Pope's list, find initiative ways to create dignified jobs for young people. We need to be creative with our young people. If they have no opportunities, they will get into drugs and alcohol and be more vulnerable to suicide, he says. The Pope's number 7 on his list, respect and take care of nature. Environmental degradation is one of the biggest challenges we have, he said. I think a question that we're not asking ourselves is, isn't humanity committing suicide with this indiscriminate and tyrannical use of nature? Number 8 on his list, stop being negative. Huge one on my list. Needing to talk badly about others indicates you have low self-esteem. That means I feel so low, and instead of picking on myself or picking myself up, I have to cut others down to feel better. The Pope said letting go of negative things quickly is healthy. Number 9 on his list is respect others' beliefs. We can inspire others through witness so that one grows together in communicating. But the worst thing of all is religious proselytism, which paralyzes. I am talking with you in order to persuade you. No, each person's dialogue, starting with his and our own identity. The church grows by attraction, not proselytizing, the Pope says. Last on the Pope's list is work for peace. We are living in a time of many, many, many wars, he says, and the call for peace must be shouted and shouted loud. Peace sometimes gives the impression of being quiet, but it is never quiet. Peace is always proactive and dynamic. Folks, I want to touch back real quick like I always do, double take on this. 4 tips for super sobriety. Number 1 is you need to learn to let go. Addiction is a disease of stuckness. We get stuck in a cycle using drinks and drugs, and we also get stuck in our moods, grievances, and resentments. Recovering addicts can afford to become too stressed out. Cannot afford to become too stressed out, I should say, because stress makes relapse more likely. The world will always be full of adverse experiences. We have to learn to let go of them and move on, as the Pope says. Number 2 is to free yourself from judgment. One of the reasons we suffer in life is because we are too concerned with looking outwards and worrying about the rest of the world and what they think about you. You need to be concerned when you look in the mirror how you feel about yourself. You need to love yourself before you can love others. You need to judge yourself before you can judge others. And when you do judge others and you don't even judge yourself, what you have is low self-esteem and you're cutting people down, and it's not right. Sit with your stuff is number 3. When people are in active addiction, what they are basically doing is trying to block out unpleasant feelings. Even if you stop using drinks and drugs to mask the change in your mood, often you may still be doing things that alter the way you feel. You might be doing things as overworking yourself, drinking too much caffeine, too much sugar, or having too much sex to counteract the fact that you're not using drugs and alcohol anymore. There's nothing wrong with soothing or distracting yourself when you're hurting sometimes, but you become a much stronger person if you can learn to sit with some of the pain without doing anything to camouflage it. Number 4 on the list is feed your soul. In the early days of recovery, we usually play it safe and stay within fellowship and recovery groups. We, as addicted people in recovery, need to go outside the groups somewhat. There's nothing wrong with having those crutch groups, which I choose to call crutch groups, the AAs, the support groups, because they are an important part of your recovery. But it is just as important to go outside that group, to test the water somewhat, to find out what you need to be concerned about. Remember, if those groups disappear one day, you need to prepare yourself for living in society, possibly without those groups. And when the Pope was interviewed in in Argentina, and he had said these are the 10 things that he feels will make you happier as a person, because he himself utilizes these things. And number 1 on his list is to live and let live, to move forward. However your neighbor lives, let them live the way they want to live. Worry about the way you live. Everyone should be guided by this principle, he said, which has some similar expression in Rome with the saying, move forward and let others do the same. Don't hinder someone else's progress. Don't stand in their way. Number 2, he said, is be giving yourself to others. I say this all the time. When you help others, when you do good, good things will happen to you. There is nothing wrong with helping those elderly neighbors. There is nothing wrong with helping someone who has addiction with some advice. Number 3, proceed calmly in life. Don't excite yourself. The Pope, who used to teach high school literature, used the image from an Argentine novel, the Ricardo Giraldez, in which the protagonist, Groucho Don Segundo Sabura, looks back on how he lived his life with calmness, with pleasant, calm waters, not a rough ocean type. Number 4, a healthy sense of leisure. The Pope said consumerism has brought us anxiety, and told parents to set aside time to play with their children and turn the TV off when they sit down to eat. Let the table at dinner, at breakfast, at lunch become an open forum for concerns for what's happening in your children's life. TV distracts you, not necessary. If you want to watch TV, wait until after you eat. Number 5, Sundays should be holidays, he says. Workers should have Sundays off because Sundays is for family. I say this all the time. I try to do inspirational videos on Sundays. Number 6, find innovative ways to create dignified jobs for young people. We need to be creative with young people. If they have no opportunities, they will go and get into drugs. And they are more vulnerable to suicide, he says. He also says, number 7, respect and take care of nature. Environmental degradation is one of the biggest challenges we have, he said. I think the question that we're not asking ourselves is, isn't humanity committing suicide with this indiscriminate and tyrannical use of nature? He says number 8 on his list is stop being negative. I would have put this one at number 1 on my list, but the Pope says number 8. Needing to talk badly about others indicates you have low self-esteem. That means I feel so low that instead of picking myself up, I have to cut you down. The Pope said, letting go of negative things quickly is only healthy for you, and it makes you look better, it makes you feel better as a human when you don't live a negative life. Remember what I always say, positive thoughts equals positive results. Number 9, respect other people's beliefs. Do respect your neighbor's beliefs. We can inspire others through witness so that one grows together in communicating. But the worst thing of all is religious persuasion of their own beliefs. I am talking with you in order to persuade you. No, says the Pope. Each person's dialogue, starting with his or her own identity, needs to be expressed by their own self. The church grows by attraction, not by trying to persuade you. It's to show you what we do, or a church does, and you make that choice. Don't try to strong-arm anyone in believing what you believe in. Last but not least, the Pope says, is work for peace. We are living in a time where many, many wars are around us in the Middle East, part of Africa, part of Czech. What I truly believe is that we need to somehow live a life of peace, and it all starts within our own neighborhood. Why go to war with your neighbor over that tree that's hanging on your side of the property? It all starts with those small issues. The call for peace must be shouted loud and must be heard by everyone. Peace sometimes gives the impression of being quiet, but it is never quiet. Peace is always proactive and dynamic. Start with peace within yourself. Start with peace around you, with your neighbors, and let that peace grow into something so huge that it goes into the Middle East, and it goes to Czech over in Europe, and it goes to Africa. Let it all blossom that way, folks. Folks, you have to remember that all these changes that are out there, that maybe the Pope says that you need to make to be happier, all will happen if you start with very small steps. And part of those changes is to teach your children to say no to drugs and alcohol. And part of those changes is for you to start thinking positive so you can see the positive results, to get rid of the negativity around you. And start also judging yourself before you judge others. Look yourself in the mirror. Do you like what you see every morning? And if you find fault in others, please keep it to yourself. When you bring that fault to them directly, what you are doing is you're exposing yourself for having low self-esteem. Judge yourself, improve yourself, show others how improvement within yourself might help them. Let them visually see you. Lead by example. Don't tell your relative you need to lose weight or you need to do this. You do what you need to do for you to be happy. Do one of the 10 things or all the 10 things that the Pope says will make you happy. And folks, try to adhere to the 4 tips of super sobriety. Try to adhere to learn to let it go. Try to adhere to free yourself from judgment, to sit with your stuff, and to feed your soul with more knowledge, and to always learn to love one another. Folks, I hope to God that this was very informative for you. I hope to God that you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to God that you all have a great day. But I really hope and pray that each and every one out there has a sober day, and may God bless you.